Hello, National Sewing Circle. It's Emily Steffen, and I am here to teach you the third week of our four-part Easy Sew, Cute and Colorful Pillow mini-series. We did the first week I have what we did. We did a tassel pillow. These are all little tassels. Last week, we did a rainbow pillow with some poms. This week, we're going to continue on the pom train and do my daughter was so excited about this one, so she had this little pillow. This is an ice cream cone pillow. How cute is this for any kids' room or on your porch or anything? It adds some color and some fun and some whimsy. If you don't know who I am, I started with Sewing Circle by doing the Oh So Easy Sewing Challenge. I did a pizza pouch and some easy napkins, some fabric napkins. And now I am here with this third installment of this pillow series. So the instructions for all four of these pillows are available for you. If you're watching on YouTube and Facebook, the click for the instructions is in the little video description right below. If you're watching on our site, it'll be in the chat. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know if you have any questions. Chat along as we're sewing and as we're making today. Let's get started. So the biggest thing for this pillow is that it's so customizable, and this is one of the four pillows that you don't need to sew. Now, of course, I'm going to encourage you to sew, but you don't need to sew. You could get your whistle wet with some of this crafting by just doing some hot glue if you really, really wanted to, but I would encourage you to break out your sewing machine. What you need for this project is, this is a really little pillow form, but I have a 15 by 6 pillow form. This is my outline, or the cover that I'm going to do today. And you'll find the size of your pillow either on the tag, or you can just measure it with a tape measure. So you'll need your pillow form, the fabric for your cover. You're going to need 2 colors of brownish or tan felt, and that's going to be for the cone. And then any yarn that you want for the Poms, the Pom ice cream scoops, some embroidery floss, scissors, your sewing machine, of course, and pom makers or a piece of cardboard for Poms. And I did, just a little caveat, I did a Facebook Live and a live video on how to make the perfect pom, because I wear Poms as earrings. We have Poms as accessories all over our house. So reference that video, go back and find that, because it has a lot of tips and tricks. I will share some today, but that's a little bit more in-depth if you're feeling like you really want to dive into your pom making skills. So first things first, I'm going to tilt my camera down here for just a second here. First things first is I demoed this really a lot more in depth on the very first video, the video with the tassels. So please go reference that and go find that for this full of how to do exactly how to make the pillow cover. I'm going to show you, I'm just not going to demo it today just because we have other things I want to get to. But basically, I don't want to fuss with zippers when I'm making a pillow cover. So I have my front pillow shape, which is this front piece right here, which is not ironed to the perfect T, but that's okay. And then I have 2 back panels that essentially overlay so that I can omit a zipper. So it goes like this. You see that? So basically these 2 back panels overlay each other, and then I don't have to fuss with a zipper. If you want to fuss with a zipper, please fuss with a zipper. Have fun. Do what you need to with the zipper. But I find it so much easier to just do this way. And then it's easy to take it out because you can wash your pillow cover easily in the washing machine. It's just a lot easier. So essentially, you're going to measure your pillow, make your cover 1 inch bigger on all 4 sides. And then on the 2 back panels, this is a 15 by 6. So it's a 15 by 6 pillow. So this sizing that I have is a 16 by 7. And then these back panels here, I cut a little bit weird just because I only had so much fabric left. But essentially, you'll see this here that I have a 4-inch, this is a 3.5 inch overlapping space. So it's that simple. You'll iron this little hem right here, do a top stitch, and then you're ready to embellish your front. So for today, like I said, go back to that first video and I'll give you more in-depth instructions. It's pretty straightforward, and the instructions are also in the PDF that you'll download as well. But for today, we're going to work on our ice cream cone and ice cream scoops. So the ice cream cone is pretty simple. Here, I'm going to show you here. It is a cute little cone with some scallops. Really fun little kind of feminine design with the scallops, but I love it. And it has some depth and dimension to it, which I love. So essentially what we're going to do is cut out our ice cream cone triangle I'm gonna grab my really sharp scissors here and cut out. And you can make this as big or as little. You can do multiple different ice cream cones on the pillow if you want to. So I'm gonna make a bigger one because my ice cream or my pillow is a little bit big. So here's 2 things to keep in mind when you're cutting your ice cream. A, you have to know how big you want to make your Poms, because you obviously do not want an ice cream scoop that is super wide, because you're going to have to make your Poms really wide, knowing that you want your ice cream scoops, when you eat an ice cream cone, your ice cream scoops go to the very edge of the cone. So keep that in mind. You don't want to make it super wide. And you're going to want to, I'm going to show you this really quick. You're going to want to curve the top of your ice cream scoop or ice cream cone just a little bit. Do you see that? Because obviously no ice cream scoop, my ice cream cone is exactly just perfect. This will just be the rough idea here. This is your base where you're going to sew your scallops onto. So then what I'll do, I'm going to alternate this color and this like tan color for the ice cream cone. You can make it whimsical. You can make a rainbow ice cream cone. You can make a purple ice cream cone. If anybody is local here to Minnesota, there's an ice cream shop called Minnesota Nice Cream, and they have the most amazing, colorful waffle cones that my kids find just awesome all the time. So here we go. I will start by, and some of this is a little bit based on how big you have your ice cream cone, but I'm going to start cutting by cutting 1 inch to 1.5 inch strips, and those will become the scallops. So it doesn't have to be straight and it doesn't have to be perfect. This is a project that, with your supervision with scissors, of course, you can totally do with your kiddos on a rainy day. Because I think that anytime we can give our kids the ability to make and be creative and craft, it is so fun for their imagination and for their wonder, and it helps them, get some fine motor skills, of course. I'm doing the same with this brown color as well. So essentially you'll want strips. I alternated my scallops, tan, brown, tan, brown, tan, brown. So essentially I'm going to alternate these strips. Oh, yay. Dana says this is a fun project she can do with her granddaughters or grandkids this summer. I love that. My son I was saying that last week that my son was he's really into pom-pom making. And I told him, next week you can be on live with me and make some pom-poms. So I told him this morning he could come, and he was like, no, he got shy. But I am a firm believer that pom-poms and tassels are one of the most fun things for kids to make. So we have our strips, really easy. This is going to be where it can come in really fun with fine motor skills for kiddos. And let me just say this too, I'm using felt. And the reason I'm using felt is because I love the textural quality of felt, but also I really love that it's a substrate that you can cut that you don't have to finish on the edges. Like you just cut it, we can cut our scallops and we don't have to hem it or sew it or serge the corners, which I really, really love. And I think that makes it more of a fun, immediate project, especially for kids. So I'm gonna scallop, just, they don't have to be perfect. You can make your scallops as big or as wide or as long as you wanna make them. And I'm just going to scallop this whole piece, and then I'll cut it to length across where I want it to be on my ice cream cone. I think anytime we can add food into a project, instantly, I love it more and kids love it more. I hope I'm not the only one. Okay. So here, I've scalloped my piece, just like this. Oh, Jenna says she used my pom-pom video to make a bunch for her niece to play with. That is the other thing that's really fun about pom-poms, is using those. It's a fun thing for kids just to play with. You can play toss into an old Kleenex box. You can have a fake fight across the house with pom-poms. The sky is the limit. So I'm going to do the same with all 3 of these. And I'll just do a few so you can get the idea. But this would be really fun now that I said it out loud to use, instead of alternating brown and tan, you could make rainbow color, which would be really fun. And you can make this to match a kid's room. You can make it to match your living room colors. I am a firm believer that the more color, the better, and to not shy away. So you will start at the very bottom. I laid this on the top. But you'll start at the very bottom, and it'll probably be one scale. And you'll want to lay this in what I would say a brick pattern. So, you know, like how bricks are staggered, you know, they stagger the, they overlap the center seam. See how this is right here? How it overlaps. There's the one right here, and then this kind of falls. The one thing I don't want to do is just lay them over top of each other so that they go like this, which you could, but I want to lay them so that they go like, I'm going backwards. So they go like that. You can see that. So here, I'm just going to start laying this out. And if you want to pin these in place as you sew, you are more than welcome to, but I'm just going to start laying them out and then trimming them to the very edges of this cone right here. So I'll go like this. And I'm okay if I'm cutting off a little bit of my scallop. For now, I'm just going to trim the scallops, and then after I sew them, I will trim them even more to this ice cream cone shape. So you can just begin to lay this out. So I'm laying it out and I'm putting these on here. Oh, this isn't quite big enough, so I'm going to cut some more scallops. I'll do a few more layers and then I'll show you how to tack it on. Whoa. The thing with felt is that you have to have a very sharp scissors. That is the one thing I learned early. So that's probably why it is essential to supervise kiddos as they're doing this. Any older kiddo would probably be fine, but some of the younger kiddos, as they gnaw away at the scissors, it's a bit tricky. So I'm just laying this out to get a general idea of how I want it to go. And of course, as you're laying it out, you can adjust the size of your scallops if you want to, because you may find, oh, I want something bigger, I want something smaller. But as you can see, I'm just laying them on here. So just to get this scallop pattern. Jenna just asked for the projects when you know you need to pin. Oh, okay, Jenna, here's the thing. That's a super good question. When do you need to pin and when you don't need to pin? That is an age-old question that I'm sure many people have an opinion about. I never pin, which I maybe should not admit. I feel like if you're doing something very precise, like quilting, or where you need something exactly perfect in a corner or at an angle, absolutely pin. If you're doing something that feels like it could bunch or move, absolutely pin. This project, I'm laying it out right now just to get it so I know how many rows. You could pin before you sew these. The great thing about felt, this is going to bring it back to the old ages of felt boards. If anybody knows what a felt board is, felt sticks to each other. Like it sticks, right? Like you don't, it doesn't stick like forever stick, but it sticks like you're kind of pinning it in place, which I love. So for this project, I'm not going to pin because it's going to stick to each other and not super duper move. And I'm also giving myself leeway on the edges. You can see I haven't trimmed them exactly close to this very edge that the cone is, because I'm going to sew it on first, because it is likely that it might shift or move just a little bit. And I think that is important, or you can give yourself some buffer, if you will. So I've cut enough of these where I'm just going to give you an idea of how you can sew. The thing with the cone too is when I first was laying them out, I was laying them very wonky and very kind of haphazard and kind of diagonal, and that would be really fun, especially if you're going to do more than just a couple colors, to lay them in a little bit different direction, which would be really fun. So let me grab my sewing machine really quick here. And I am just going to do a straight stitch for these. So you can see, I have to plug her in. I didn't want to trip on my cords, so I didn't plug it in quite yet. I sew everything on this Janome, and I love it, and it's a workhorse. It's a 9450, and it is one of my favorite things ever. It's so great. So I just have an off-white thread in here. I love using alternate colors of thread. So if you want to stitch with a bright pink or a hot blue or a neon yellow, do it, because I think anytime you can add that fun detail, kids will love it, and I think it's really fun. And I love it. So I'm going to take off my layers here, and I'm going to start with the bottom scallop and work its way up. So all I'm doing is kind of top stitching or edge stitching, if you will. Maybe not edge stitching because it won't be so close, but just stitching right along this top right up here, just so that it's tacking it down. And like I said in the very beginning, if you are feeling very intimidated by your sewing machine, I encourage you, this is an easy project to get started with, but also it wouldn't, it's not hard, and you could get out your glue, your hot glue if you really wanted to. Oh, Valerie says it looks like a mermaid tail. That is, oh my stars, you can make a mermaid tail pillow just like this. As a matter of fact, I was cutting out these scallops and I thought, wouldn't it be beautiful to do an entire pillow of like ombre scallops from the top to the bottom? That could fit in any little girl's Little Mermaid room. I just did a big mural project for my niece this spring before COVID hit, and I cut out the stencil. It's like the mermaid scale stencil, and I stenciled it on her wall, and we painted it gold, and then it was like different colors of purples and pinks, and my little auntie heart just was soaring when she walked in and her eyes lit up. It was really fun. See, so simple. You're just tacking it right on the top. See, so just right across the top right there, just a straight stitch. And then you're gonna go down where you cut here and then just lay them on. Like I said, felt sticks to felt. So I don't pin in this situation. This also would be a really fun project. For Christmas this last year, we just got my son, because he's really been into sewing, a Janome Fun Colors. It's like a bright teal sewing machine. And this would be a really fun project to get kids sewing because it's straight stitches, it's on felt, it's easy, it's something that they don't need to turn, it's just one thing cut, one thing cut, one thing cut. This would be a really fun beginner sewing project. So I'm just going to continue laying each scallop down and stitching it just right across the top. It's pretty simple. See? You'll see on the back, it's just 1, 2, 3 little rows of stitching. And like I said, if you really are feeling intimidated by your sewing machine, you absolutely could hot glue this. I'll do one more and then I'll demo the rest here. But now I have my mind set on what we could do for a little mermaid scallop pillow. That sounds really fun. You got my mind going. Okay, so you'll continue and obviously finish the entire cone. And if you're doing multiple cones, I'd suggest making all the cones at one time for your pillow because that's just going to make it really easy. So this just gives you an idea how to do that. So there's a quick demo. And then let me show you. So so you have it all sewn, right? And it's, like I said, I have this extra. I wanted to give myself some buffer in case it wiggled or moved. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to trim the sides. If you don't want to, you absolutely don't have to. But now, oopsies, there we go. Now it's trimmed up just to clean up those edges to make it more cone-ish. So next step is Poms. And I'm going to demo 2 different ways to make Poms because I think it is so fun. Irene asks, what is the best way to fill out the corners of your pillow? That's a really good question. I'm going to show you at the very end of this video because I'll show you how I put my pillow form in and fluff it because I think that is kind of the trick, how to sew the corners, cut the corners, and then to fluff your pillow to make it an exact corner. Really easy. I'll show you at the very beginning. Jenna also says, I just bought a Singer Pro. Do you have any beginner sewing machine tips? Yes. Oh my gosh. I am so loving, I'm going to turn this on my face. I'm so loving hearing everybody who has bought machines for making masks or because we're all home and we're wanting to pick up this project. I learned to sew from my mom at a really young age and I grew up kind of thinking everybody knew how to sew. And of course I got to college and high school and people were like, wow, you made some pajama pants? And I thought, oh, that's something everybody knows how to make. And I love that people are picking it up again because it is a life skill that is so fun and so easy. So here are I would say I have 3 basic beginner tips. Just hear me out for 2 seconds here, and then we'll get back to the project. But my 3 tips are, 1, start. I know it's so intimidating to look at your sewing machine and go, oh my gosh, there's 100 stitches and I don't know what to do. Start with something simple. Start with one of these patterns. And even if you only want to sew half of it and then use your hot glue gun to embellish the pillow top, at least it'll get you comfortable. My second tip is, okay, so when I teach my son to sew, we've used, and I have them on my blog, which I can share. My blog is oyaystudio.com. And on my blog, I have paper you can print it off on a printer. And this might be more for kids, but I really think the technique is fun for adults. And it's patterns that you can sew on paper to get yourself using your sewing machine, right? So you'll learn to turn corners, you'll learn to kind of zigzag, because what you'll want to learn, this is part of the second tip, is you'll want to let your machine guide you. Because I think what people get frustrated by is they're pulling the fabric through the back of the machine and they're trying to make it work. And I think you just have to trust your machine and learn to kind of let it work for you. And it feels so weird. It's like when you drive a car for the first time, you're like, you're not gonna hit the brakes. It's so easy. And my third tip is give yourself a project goal or a series of projects. And what I mean by that is, let's say you bought your sewing machine for making masks and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what the heck. I have these ideas I want to make. If you go on Pinterest or you see something in a store and you're like, I want to learn how to make that, kind of look at the project components and see how you can learn those specific components. Like for instance, if you want to learn to make a pillow, think about, okay, how would I construct the pillow? How would I make the corners of the pillow? And how would I embellish the pillow? Those are 3 things that you can work up to make your final goal. And I think when you pick things apart little by little, you'll look at the end result and go, oh my gosh, it was not that hard. And that just gives you more confidence to keep going. So start small, learn to let the machine work for you and have trust in it, and then give yourself kind of some goals, which I know this is a little tangent, but I love to hear when people buy sewing machines, because I 100% feel like it's one of those skills that you will carry on. And if our kiddos are watching us sew, it's something they can get intrigued by and excited about. And my goal for my son is to teach him how to make pajama pants by this Christmas, because every Christmas we all have a pair of homemade pajama pants. My mom started that tradition and I've carried it on with my kids. And I hope that we're getting there. We're getting there. He sews for about 20 minutes and then he's like off to doing his own thing, which is fine. But I'm embracing it as it comes. So I know that was a little tangent, but okay. So Marianne just asks, can you use the scallops to make a dinosaur pillow? Marianne, now we have mermaids, ice cream cones, and dinosaur pillows. That would be really fun for this fun dinosaur tail or lizard tail or something. You could do the felt dinosaur body and then have a big scallop tail. Yes, absolutely. This is the fun with felt, is you can use the techniques of it because it's such an approachable, simple material. And if I could sew with felt my entire life, I would. As a matter of fact, next week's project has a lot of felts in it. Okay, so sorry, I got a little distracted by that question. But the next step for the ice cream pillow is pom-poms. If you see my trusty caboodle, please tell me that you had a caboodle. Please know what a caboodle is. This is where I keep all my pom-pom supplies. It's a doodle caboodle, so I was able to do about it. Valerie says, when I was in high school, I had to take sewing. I made a top and a skirt, and I think I'll ask my son if he wants that. Yes, there's so many so cute sewing machines out there that I love, love, love. Of course, I picked out the teal sewing machine for my son, and I love it. It's really cute and really easy. All right, so if you have a pom-pom maker, there's multiple sizes of pom-poms. And when you look at the maker, roughly about the size of the pom-pom maker is the size of the finished pom that you will end up with, roughly. I want to go big because remember, my ice cream cone is this wide, and I want to make a pom-pom that fits about the size, because you would never get an ice cream cone from an ice cream shop where they were this big. Now, if you were like gonna layer them all in like 100 different pom-poms, absolutely. But I want to make like big scoops. So I'm gonna use my biggest pom-pom maker, and I'm gonna show you 2 different ways to make an ice cream scoop pom-pom. The first one is just a solid color, which will be pretty easy. And the second one is I'm gonna show you how to make sprinkles for the top. I didn't do that on here because I thought about it after the fact, but I wanna show you. So let's just use our pink, for example. I'm going to tilt this back down again. Does felt wash? That's a super good question. Yes. You have to be careful. Wash it in cold water and never put it in the dryer, but felt does wash. If you are a knitter, you know that if you knit a swatch of fabric to make it felted, if you will, where it like melds or melts to each other to create something thick, you wash it in hot, hot, hot water and potentially dry it in hot, or just continue washing it in agitated hot, hot, hot water. So that's what you don't want to do if you already have the felted fabric. So just wash it in cold water. You could hand wash it, but you for sure can throw it in the washing machine. I've not had any troubles washing felt before at all. All right, so you know what? I'm going to back up for 2 seconds and just demo on a smaller pom just so it doesn't take so long. But for this project, I would certainly use the biggest pom-pom maker I have. So to make a solid pom, all you will do is wrap your yarn around in the most, I would say, even way possible to fill in this entire half circle of yarn. And it is a project that, like I said, kids can super have fun with. So while you're sewing, if you don't want to teach your kid to sew yet, give them some yarn and have them dream what their ice cream scoops would be. This obviously would be like a raspberry sorbet flavor, obviously. So I think you can come up with a pretty fun narrative of your ice cream if you want to. So you're just gonna wrap as even as you can, back and forth without going over these knobs here. You see how there's like these knobs right here? If you don't have a palm maker, you can do this exact same thing on a piece of cardboard. And I demoed that in that Perfect Palm video that we did about a month and a half ago maybe. All right, here we go. This is also, Poms and tassels are a good way to use up all the random yarn you have laying around, and they're really fun just to do in front of a video. So if you have a rainy movie night and you want to do something fun with your kids where you're kind of watching a movie that you've seen 100 times, bust out the pom-pom makers, make some tassels, get messy and have fun. So do you see how I filled in, this would be like the opposite of it. You see how it was originally this half circle, and now I filled it all in by going back and forth? That's all you're gonna wanna do. Give it a clip, and then shove it right back in here. So now to make sprinkles on the top, you will take your, and this is a sprinkle idea, right? You're gonna take your main color of ice cream, so raspberry sorbet, and I wanna do pink, this other pink sprinkles. And maybe I want to do white sprinkles. Let's do 2 different colors of sprinkles, shall we? Why not? Let's do, so I am taking all 3 colors. Where's the end here? All 3 colors. If you really, really want to, you could do 2 strands of the raspberry and then add another color, because the raspberry color is essentially what you're, obviously think of an ice cream scoop, that's your main color, and then you'll add the others on top of that. But all you're gonna do is wrap them all at the same time. So it makes it faster wrapping because you're tripling your, your yarn. Be a little careful not to go over the edges. And there's no rhyme or reason to how you're holding them, as long as you're holding them together, and then they'll get perfectly confetti or perfectly sprinkled in between. Wonder how to make a mint chocolate chip scoop. Well, here, this is how you can make a mint chocolate chip, just like this. I would do 2 mint colors, 2 of the mint. We obviously have mint on here, and then do like 1 brown or 1 black string. So think of how many you would want for the main color, and then add those other 2 colors on there. Mint chocolate chip is a good, refreshing. We were just at an ice cream place this weekend, and my daughter can't have dairy, and they had carrot mango, and it was so good. I snuck a taste. So, right, and you'll want only, you'll want only the top part of your scoop, obviously, to have your sprinkles on it, because when you're sprinkling, I mean, you could do the whole scoop if you wanted to, but it feels like it makes a little bit more sense just at the top. So this is you have your sprinkles, and then your main color at the bottom, and I'm just going to, there's a little chasm or a little hole right in the pom-pom maker is what I'm looking for, right here. So you'll clip it. Sharp scissors are key to a lot of crafting. Let's see, now we have it speckled. And then the bottom, clip this. There we go. So the bottom is raspberry, the top is sprinkles. I'm going to grab some embroidery floss. And you can just do something that is similar in color. It doesn't have to be exact, because quite frankly, you won't see much of it. I like embroidery floss because it's stronger than if you're just to use yarn. Some people swear by, I just somebody gave me this tip last time and I tried it and it was actually amazing, actually dental floss. And it's awesome because it does not budge because it's wax coated. And I love it. There's an excuse for dental floss in my house. So you'll want to have, a chunk that's, this is probably a foot and a half. Cheryl asks, where can we get pom-pom makers? These pom-pom makers are Clover brand. And you can find a set of all the sizes on Amazon, at Joann's, at Michael's. They're usually in a variety set, and they're all different colors. So you can see the colors of what you're making. But they're Clover brand, Clover. And I don't think I've seen any others besides Clover brand. So you're gonna thread your embroidery floss through this chasm that we just cut, through the whole, I don't know, lane? I don't know what you call it. And we're gonna tie it nice and tight. And my tip for tying tight is you're gonna tie it in a knot, and then you're gonna bring it to the other side and tie it again. Because you want to get it as tight as possible, and do that 2 or 3 times before you take it out. And you want to leave your tails long enough that you can thread a needle through this to be able to attach it. So don't tie it so many times that it's so short, because that will not work. All right. All right, here we go. So the last one, tying a nice square knot. Now, if you tuned into my last pom-pom class, I know exactly my biggest and best tip for you that I hope you walk away from if you're learning how to do pom-poms is this. Trim your pom-pom before you take it out of the pom-pom trimmer, because the key to any good pom-pom is its haircut that you give. And by that I mean it's how much you trim it. So if I just take it out like this, it's kind of wonky on the edges, but any good pom-pom is going to be a nice tight ball. However, for these ice cream scoops, you want them to be a little bit more like scoopy, because they want to lay on top of each other. So I am going to trim them before I take it out of the pom-pom. I'm going to trim it just a little bit differently. So I'm going to trim my bottom, and this would be the same. You're trimming them before you take it out of the pom-pom trimmer, pom-pom maker. You just follow the edge of your pom-pom maker. Nice sharp pair of scissors is the key, I'm telling you. Sharp scissors is the key to a lot of things in crafting. And then, right here, trim this top part. Because what this is essentially doing is you're going to have to trim it no matter what, but this is giving you a really good pre-trim, if you will, so that you don't have to just kind of figure out how to cut a circle out of a giant mass of yarn, right? Okay, so then you take it out. All right. So the one thing here, so fluff it up. The one thing is I'm going to flatten this side and this side just a little bit. So see how the top has sprinkles and the bottom doesn't? It's like you shook some sprinkles on top. I'm going to flatten, well, let me take this back. Think about the order in which you want your palms to be, right? Think about the order in which you want them to be on your pillow. The top one will probably be perfectly curved, but these other two, when you're scooping ice cream, you're going to squish them down. So see how this one is squished a little bit? This one's squished, this one's squished. So maybe just think about where you want your palm to be, and all you're going to do is trim accordingly. So I'm going to trim my bottom more flattish. You see that? So I'm just kind of trimming the bottom part a little bit so that it makes sense that you're not just putting balls on your pillow. And you can trim it however you want to. You could make them perfect circles if you really wanted to. But you're just going to go through and kind of trim it as you see fit. See? Little ice cream scoop pom-pom. And if I were to have 2 strands of this raspberry color and then add the pink and the light pink and the white, it probably would have looked a little bit more sporadic. But I also really like how fun and colorful that is too, because you just shook some sprinkles on top. That's the basic idea. Make as many palms or as little palms as you want. So basically, to finish the pillow, what you're going to do is, I need to find my pillow front, which is right here. You can either hot glue, or I'm going to make 2 for this, for my daughter's room. I'm going to do two little ice creams that are kind of running into each other because this is a bigger pillow. You will stitch around the edge or hot glue it, and then you're going to take an embroidery needle and put it through one side, let me back up. Take the embroidery needle, thread it on this side, string it through to the other side of the pillow. Take the embroidery needle, thread it through this one, and thread it through this side of the pillow, and then tie your pom on here. And it's upside down. Tie your pom on there. So essentially, you're going to start building your scoops up tall. Now, to answer the question before of how do I get perfect corners on my pillow, I'm going to show you one thing really quickly and then show you how I stuff the pillow. So I'm going to finish this in a little bit because I want to make more ice cream scoops for my daughter. But to get perfect corners, there's two things here. I'm going to grab cut this in half and show you. Just to give you a little demo. So to make your corners on your pillow, let's just say these are your pillow, right? And you're going to stuff your tiny little pillow in here. Essentially, I'll show you how to do it, but I'm going to explain it first. You're going to run your stitch here, put your needle down, lift up your presser foot, and turn and run your stitch. And what that'll do is it's going to pivot, so your machine is leaving the needle there and continuing the stitch without lifting anything else up. So let me show you really quickly what I mean by that. And it's very easy. Look. This is how I craft, you guys. I have stuff everywhere all the time. And I know I'm not alone in that. There are people I know that craft just as messy as I do. That's okay. Okay, so run the stitch, needle down, press your foot up, run the stitch. Let me show you that. I'm just going to start right here. Lowering everything down. There, you can see now. Running your stitch. I'm almost out of bobbin thread because I am. I'm running my stitch here. And I get to just about the edge. And all I'm going to do is lift up my presser foot, and my needle is still down in my fabric. My machine is set so that my needle stays down unless I lift it. If for some reason your needle lifts, all you have to do is use your side wheel right over here and turn it to make sure your needle stays back down. Because look, I can move this entire thing because my needle is still down, right? And then I just lower my presser foot, either with my hand or with that button that I just used, and then continue to go straight. Right? Okay. So I'll show you that in the actual pillow. See, so you have a nice edge. It's kind of hard to see because my thread is the exact same color as this. So let me show you exactly how that looks on the pillow. And then the second step before I show you is you're going to clip the edges. So when you have a corner like this, you obviously will have your seam allowance on the edge. When you try to flip that out, so you have your corner, you try to flip that out, all this fabric right here is just going to get super bunchy if you don't just trim it away. So all you do is trim it without clipping your actual seam, and that is what's going to give you, using my scissors, which I know a lot of people are going to go, no, don't do that. That's going to give you a pretty darn good corner, right? Because you're taking away all that excess in that. So it's a pretty easy corner. You can iron this and make it even more cornered if you really want to. Now, when I'm stuffing my pillows, that makes sense. If you have any other questions, please jot them in the comments. But it's a really easy way to get your corners nice and tight and nice and square. Now, when I'm stuffing my pillow, I'm going to bring this up so I can give you a full demo. When I'm stuffing my pillow, here's a little teaser. This is next week's pillow. I'll show you. When I'm stuffing my pillow, I stuff them in. I'm going to take it out so that it's full on. So you have your pillow case. My corners are here. There they are. I've trimmed my corners. I've sewed it. It's all done. Yay. Hooray. Hooray. And then I stuff it in here. And I just do like a really easy stuff because it is. Let me show you the trick. Get it in here, right? And you can work at this for 100 years. All I do, this is going to be loud, is if you hit it against something, let me do my leg. If you hit it against something, look at how perfect the corners are now. And the pillow is in all four corners. All you have to do is like fluff it and hit it. I know this seems like what the heck. My grandma taught me how to do this. She just used to beat it. Maybe she was like trying to get all the dust out, but look at your pillow is filled into this entire corner. You can just hit it against your leg. So my kids know that's what I'm doing when I fluff my pillow. So okay, if you have any additional questions, jot them in the comments. Remember that the patterns for these instructions, if you're on YouTube and Facebook, are in the description below. If you're online in the website, they're in the banner. But next week, this is upside down. Next week is my favorite pillow. I'm going to show you how to make this custom applique, and I'll show you how to make the pattern for it, depending on if you want to write somebody's name or a word, and then I'm going to show you how I put it on, how I adhere it. So I'm excited. Join back next Thursday at 11 a.m., and we'll see you then. If you want to follow along or check out any of those PDF patterns, click on those links, and you can find me at oyestudio.com. Thanks for joining.